It's September 1st, 2004, a normal morning. 4-year-old Denise Pipitone is playing outside with her cousin. It's warm in the Italian midday sun, and the children are right in front of Denise's grandmother's house. Nothing could possibly happen to them. Nothing. But Denise Pipitone disappears from that very spot, and her case becomes one of Italy's most mysterious crimes. Denise's aunt last sees the girl at around 11:45 a.m. Denise is playing peacefully on the sidewalk in front of her grandparents' house. The family lives in Mazara del Vallo in Sicily. The town has about 50,000 inhabitants and is located directly on the coast of the Italian island. Denise is out with her cousin, but he is called in for lunch. Denise's aunt sees the 4-year-old running after her cousin into Via Domenico La Bruna. After that, Denise is completely out of sight. Denise's mother, Piera, is at a computer class that day and is therefore not at home. She is informed at around 12:30 p.m. that Denise is missing. The 4-year-old girl has been missing since her aunt Giacomo saw her out of the window of the house at 11:45 a.m. In coordination with the local police, the case is made public in the local media on the same day. It is hoped that increased visibility will quickly lead to a trace of the girl. Unfortunately, this does not lead to the desired result. It is as if Denise has been swallowed up by the ground on the vacation island of Sicily. This is not the only reason why the case is repeatedly compared to the disappearance of Maddie McCain. Similar to Maddie's case, there are a few puzzling observations by witnesses in Denise's case that raise questions. On October 18, 2004, a promising tip comes in from a witness. At this point, about a month and a half has passed since Denise's disappearance. A security guard named Felice from Milan contacts the police. He believes he has spotted the missing Denise. Felice quickly takes a video and calls the police. When the police arrive, the group Denise was supposed to be with is already gone. However, thanks to the witness's quick thinking, a video of the situation is available. The video is also shown to Denise Pipitone's mother. Piera believes that the girl the witness saw is her daughter. However, this can never be proven because the other people in the video cannot be identified. The clip was taken in the Giambellino district in front of a park bench. The girl in the video is accompanied by 2 women and a man. On the audio track, the girl can be heard being called Dana. She asks, "Where are you taking me?" The witness Felice says that the girl had a scratch on her cheek. This makes the observation more credible for some, as Denise had exactly the same injury at the time of her disappearance. Although a month and a half has passed, it is possible that the scratch simply healed slowly, as Denise's mother, Piera, believes. The girl in the video is said to have had a Sicilian accent, just like the missing Denise Pipitone. The video quality in 2004 is of course not as good as it is today, but at least a few similarities in facial features can be seen. However, the trail goes cold because no one else saw the child or the group of people. After that, there are repeated alleged sightings of Denise, but none of them lead to success. In 2008, an Italian woman on vacation on the Greek island of Kos raises the alarm. She says she saw a girl who looks very similar to Denise. The girl spoke Italian, but her mother only spoke Albanian. The mother-daughter duo can actually be located and verified. The girl is not Denise, and the Albanian woman is the child's mother. The case is also hotly debated in Italy over the years, and rumors abound. But hardly anything is as adventurous as the version of events that ultimately ends up in court. First of all, it must be said that Denise's family circumstances are not easy, but they may be the key to solving the case. Let's take a closer look at the whole situation. Denise's mother is called Piera Macchio, and she is in a relationship with a man named Piero Polizzi. However, Denise's mother was married to a man named Tony Pipitone when she gave birth to Denise, which is why Denise also has his surname. Piera had an affair with Piero while she was married to Tony. Piero also had a wife at the time, named Anna. After Denise was born, Piera and Piero decided to leave their respective partners and live together. Incidentally, they are still a couple today. At the time, Piera Macchio herself was not sure whether her current partner Piero or her later ex-husband Tony was Denise's father. Chronologically, both men could have been the girl's father. In 2013, there was an explosive twist in the Denise Pipitone case that had to do with precisely these circumstances. Someone was charged with aiding and abetting the girl's abduction, namely Denise's own half-sister, Jessica Polizzi. At the time of Denise's disappearance, she was 17 years old. The prosecution argues that Jessica kidnapped her own half-sister out of jealousy and revenge. Jessica's father is Piero Polizzi, Denise's mother, Piera's new husband, with whom she also lives. Since Denise grew up with Piero, we refer to Denise and Jessica as half-sisters in this video. However, it could be that Piero is not Denise's father at all, but Piera's ex, Tony. This would make Denise and Jessica only stepsisters. Regardless of this, the prosecution argues that Jessica blamed Denise's mother, Piera, for the separation of Piero and Jessica's mother, Anna Corona. On top of that, Jessica did not know for sure whether Denise was really the child of her father, Piero, or of Piera's then-husband, Tony. That is why Jessica allegedly kidnapped Denise from the street outside her grandmother's house. She then took Denise home to Piero to confront him about his paternity once and for all. However, Piero was not at home, so Jessica handed Denise over to other unnamed individuals. The charges against Jessica are therefore not a solution to the case, but at best an attempt to explain it. Piera Macchio herself says that Jessica harbored a deep grudge against her. Jessica is said to have slashed Piera's car tires and even burned down the shop where Piera worked. However, the latter could not be proven beyond doubt. What is certain, however, is that Jessica did not particularly like her stepmother. The police believe it is possible that Jessica did not commit the crime alone, but with the help of her mother Anna Corona and Jessica's then-fiancé Gaspare Galeb. This is because tracking dogs picked up Denise's scent after her disappearance near a property linked to Gaspar's sister. It is very close to Denise's grandmother's house, where the girl disappeared. Another piece of evidence is a recording of a conversation between Jessica and her mother Anna Corona. The two were questioned at the police station on the day Denise disappeared. When the two were alone for a short time, they talked, unaware that the police were recording the conversation. Jessica is said to have made a statement that could be interpreted as an indication that she had done something to Denise. However, not only is Jessica's statement vague, but the sound quality is also poor. This means that the words Jessica said to her mother Anna can be misunderstood in two ways. Anna's house was searched just hours after Denise disappeared, but Anna is said to have opened and shown the police not her own house, but that of her neighbor. However, this only comes to light years later, and because the police officers cannot remember exactly and there are no detailed records, this accusation cannot be proven. Neither Anna nor Jessica's boyfriend at the time, Gaspare, are charged, as there is not enough evidence against them. Instead, Jessica Polizzi has to answer for this in court. Presumably, the prosecution hopes to first prove something against Jessica and, consequently, against the others. We will come to that in a moment. However, it should be briefly mentioned that the trial also focuses heavily on Anna, even though she is not in the dock. The hypothesis has been put forward that Anna may have been outside her home on the night of Denise's disappearance, even though Anna claimed she had not left Mazara del Vallo. According to her cell phone data, however, Her cell phone was registered in Trapani, San Vito, and Picarini at 6 a.m. on the morning after the disappearance. This would mean, on the one hand, that Anna lied to the police, and on the other hand, that she was a potential accomplice in Denise's abduction. However, technical consultants called as witnesses thwarted the prosecution's case. The experts testify that the GPS data from Anna's cell phone model is very inaccurate. The cell phone was also registered on other days in places where Anna had not been. Jessica's ex-fiancé at the time, Gaspar Galeb, is said to have made several false statements at the beginning of the investigation. These were refuted by other people, including those close to him. The statements were supposed to have been about Denise's whereabouts on the morning of her disappearance. This means that Gaspari's statements had a massive impact on the investigation and steered it in a completely wrong direction. This may have wasted valuable time in the search for Denise. Gaspar was later sentenced in the first instance to 2 years in prison for these false statements, but the sentence was later overturned on appeal due to the statute of limitations. In 2010, Jessica's trial began. The trial drags on for 3 years. Ultimately, Jessica is acquitted due to lack of evidence. The court cannot prove that she is responsible for her half-sister's disappearance, even though the prosecution initially claimed that Jessica was undoubtedly guilty. There is no physical evidence against Jessica, nor are there any witnesses who could link the young woman to Denise's abduction. In the meantime, the possibility that an entire family could be involved in Denise's abduction is said to have been investigated. Possibly 5 or even 6 people who are related to either Denise's father Piero or his ex-wife Anna. One lead points to Denise's aunt, Rosalba Polizzi. She is Piero's sister. She was incriminated by a prison inmate named Giuseppe De Asaro. He is himself in prison because he was charged with another murder and is an acquaintance of Denise's Aunt Rosalba. Giuseppe claims that Denise was kidnapped and then taken to Rosalba's house. There, the girl was given an overdose of sedatives. Denise was then placed in one of Rosalba's freezers. Rosalba contacted Giuseppe and asked him to help hide Denise's body. Giuseppe did so and threw Denise's dead body into the ocean off the coast of Palermo. However, Giuseppe's tip was deemed implausible. He changed his statements several times, and Rosalba was able to produce witnesses who testified that she had been at work when Denise was kidnapped. In addition, Giuseppe's statements about where he was supposed to have been at certain times did not match the GPS data from his cell phone. After Jessica Polizzi's trial, instead of answers, there are more questions than ever. In March 2021, Denise Pipitone's disappearance hits the headlines again. A 20-year-old Russian woman named Olesha Rostafer claims to have been kidnapped as a child and appears on various TV shows. Many people notice a strong visual resemblance between Olesha and Denise Pipitone's mother, Piera. For a short time, there is hope that Olesha could in fact be the kidnapped Denise. But this theory is quickly dismissed. Olesha Rostafer's blood type does not match Denise Pipitone's. This rules out the possibility that they are the same person. And so, the Denise Pipitone case remains unsolved to this day. Piera Macchio continues to campaign for tougher penalties for child abduction. In a recent social media post, she announced that listening devices had been found in her home during renovation work. She leaves open the question of who placed these listening devices, when, and whether they could have anything to do with Denise's abduction. What is clear, however, is that this raises further questions in a case that is already shrouded in mystery. Because Denise Pipitone is still missing to this day, it is perhaps one of the most confusing cases ever. And at least for me, all the names and family conflicts are making my head spin. After watching this video, do you have any theories about what might have happened to Denise? If so, I would definitely be curious to hear from you. Feel free to leave a comment. That way, you'll also be supporting the channel. Any interaction, whether a like or a comment, increases the likelihood that the video will be recommended to people who haven't subscribed to Insolito yet. Thank you in advance. Otherwise, there's not much more to say. I wish you a good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you're watching the video, and hope to see you again in the next video. Until then, ciao everyone.